What's up, guys? I'm back with another what if, and this one is gonna be what if Deku was all like, what if Deku had, well, I mean, what if Deku was an elemental dragon? So where I'm gonna start with this is basically, actually, before I get started with this, I just want to let you guys know a few things. What if Deku's Carnage will come out tomorrow for those of you who wanted that what if, and so yeah, and yeah, there's that, and. Hold on, give me a second. My what if Deku was cheated on. That's gonna come out maybe in 2 days or tomorrow, because I have other what ifs to do. You know, new what ifs to bring in before I forget. And yeah. And by the way, if you guys want, I could bring back what if Deku. I mean, I could bring what if Deku had Blackbeard's powers for another what if, so you guys don't have to see like. So you guys could get a bigger story, a much like a longer story instead of it like starting off at USJ. And yeah, that's probably gonna come out somewhere around that time. And I hope you guys don't get mad at that. It's just, I have to do other what ifs, like my what if Deku was Carnage. I know some of you guys probably wanted that. Like, yeah, I'm bringing it out tomorrow. And yes. And I'm gonna start some new what ifs too again. Like, yeah, I just said that. And the what ifs are gonna be what if Deku had a toxin quirk, and what if Deku was framed. Those will be like brought in maybe tomorrow, some shit like that, somewhere like among that time. And so yeah, so this what is gonna be this. Look, give me a second. Alright, so this person name is Slick and Trim, or if he prefers Slick Trim. So he said like, oh, I should do what Deku was some type of dragon. So I try to figure it out. So I said an elemental dragon. He said yeah, and so basically Midoriya's abilities are to be able to transform or to turn into a big ass dragon, have super strength, and manipulate a certain element, which is gonna be, I'll tell you right now. And all 5 senses will be increased, and those senses I believe are, smell, taste, like sight, and like hearing and touch. If I'm wrong, correct me. And he could also be able, like, he could also smell virgins, like some dragons. And I'm gonna use all of that information I'm gonna do for the what if, because I like it. It's badass. And yeah. So yeah. So basically, yeah, that's coming out tomorrow or 2 days, something. And this is gonna be Midoriya's father, but that's just gonna be not his base form, but his transformation. That's gonna be a illusion, by the way. Yeah, that's his illusion. He could transform into that. This gorgeous man. And this is gonna be Midoriya, or if you guys want the full picture, Midoriya. He's gonna have the tattoo to remind him of his dragon part, and the shade of black is gonna represent the color of his, shadow, which is black. And he's gonna look like this because he's gonna be alone. He's not gonna have anybody. And this is gonna be Midoriya. And this is gonna be Midoriya, and this is also gonna be his father. But Midoriya's gonna look a little bit different. When I say different, I mean basically the only differences between Midoriya's transformation and his father's base form is Midoriya's the purple is basically black. Yeah, so no, Midoriya's gonna have that color too. He's gonna have purple and black. But yeah, they're just gonna look the same. Oh, Midoriya's not gonna have that shit under his chin and shit. No, he's not gonna have that. The chin, like those needles, those spiky ass needles, I don't feel like they're relevant. So I'm gonna take them out. Give me a second. And yeah, so the differences are gonna be maybe Midoriya's gonna look a little bit. Son of a bitch, bro. Midoriya's just gonna not have as many rips in his wings as his father, because his father is gonna be a fighter. Like, his father's gonna fight for territory and shit, so the holes and rips in his wings are gonna be there from battle, so it's gonna remind him. So Midoriya's not gonna like. Some of them are natural for a dragon like him because this looks ruthless as fuck. Like, you wouldn't want to mess with that. So Midoriya's gonna get it naturally, and his father has a lot more due to the fact that he's been fighting for territory, and yeah. So yeah, those are the only differences actually. So not really much because Midoriya got all the genes for a dragon transformation. So he's not like Ryuku. So like he doesn't look like a human still as dragon. No. And Ryuku will not be the ship. The ship will be, I don't know. So Midoriya's hunger for virgins is gonna be a little dormant, so it won't be as good as a pure dragon. He could still tell if you're a virgin, and he will kind of want to eat you but like it depends if he's. It depends if he's got the willpower, and like if he's physically weak, he'll probably want to eat you to survive as a natural instinct for a dragon. And if he's like weak as in a will, then he'll eat you. If you're a virgin. So if you're not a virgin, he won't have any interest in you unless you're in his way to find a virgin, and he'll eat you. Or, just kill you. And yeah. So Midoriya will, in Midoriya's base form, he just in like this form. Oh yeah, so yeah, just Midoriya's gonna have long hair. He's gonna be 19 or 18 at this look around this place. Around this look, he's gonna be around 18 or 19. He'll have this type of fashion for like most of his teen years. But the hairstyle will be, and the chokers, because there's more than one. Shit, fuck. Well, yeah, that's gonna be around his fucking not mid. He's just gonna grow his hair out around 17 and 18 and 19. So that's gonna be Midoriya around the time that I'm gonna focus on the story more. And Midoriya is gonna have super speed, super strength, and shadow manipulation, and shadow, he could transform his body into a shadow to go into shadows, like how Rogue does it. And yeah, I'll explain more of his abilities along the way. So basically, Midoriya's father, him. Where Midoriya's father lives is he lives in the Bermuda Triangle. And in the Bermuda Triangle, there's 4 corners, and if you connect them, they're like a triangle. And in there, people who go into the Bermuda Triangle, they end up dying, or just they end up dying. And so Midoriya's father lives there, and he lives on an island. And so Midoriya's father's doing this whole position, and basically he's doing this because, and he's roaring, and he's in this position because he had just killed one of the most dangerous creatures in the Bermuda Triangle. And dragons are strong as fuck. They're one of the strongest. There's not for sure a strongest, because some dragons die to some creatures, and some creatures die to dragons. You know what I mean? So there's not really a rank of what's stronger. They're all strong. Some are weaker. Some are just stronger than others. You know what I mean? Depends what kind of creature you are. But of course, there's some weak ass monsters, but they shall not be known because they ain't important. So yeah. All right. So basically, Midoriya's father, his dragon, Midoriya's father, dude. Midoriya's father is roaring because he killed one of the most dangerous creatures because the creature wanted to take his territory, but Midoriya's father is very strict on territory. So if you were to cross his path or just happen to go onto his territory, you'll be fucked. That's it. Simple as that. You're done. And yeah. Because, he takes that shit real serious. And that's going to be his father, Midoriya's father. So, Midoriya's father had just killed one of the most feared creatures. And, he feels bored because, it's been, a couple hours since then. And Midoriya's father had just finished eating the monster itself. Actually, no. Midoriya's father doesn't eat the creatures. Midoriya's father eats the fishes in his pond. And the fishes in his pond don't get contaminated because they have evolved to the point where they could survive in that type of environment. And Midoriya's father does not get sick because, he just got immune to it. And plus, he's a dragon. He's a completely different species. So, Midoriya's father gets bored of doing, he just finished eating fishes and, he basically spreads his wings, takes a good hop, and starts flying. And then he goes into the clouds and he just he shoots out a shadow fireball type shit. He shoots it out of his mouth, and then he disappears because he goes along with it. So he pulled off a Toothless and shit. You know how Toothless, he shoots off a lightning blast, and then he goes into it, and then a second later he's like a lot further than you, and yeah. Basically, that's it. What if deku was owl? I don't. Oh shit, is that from Tokyo Ghoul? Oh, I'm gonna check that shit out. Alright, yeah. So he goes to Japan, and the thing you gotta know about Midoriya's father right now is I'm gonna tell you the things that you need to know about him. Midoriya's father basically he likes to sleep with women. So, he sleeps with women to, explore what humans do. And, one of the things that he likes to do is sleep with women because, he enjoys the pleasure. And, he goes to different locations around the world trying to, observe what humans do. And, dragons and some other creatures with wings are there are very few creatures with wings that could travel, outside the Bermuda Triangle. Because they could fly and they don't have to go into the water and they could, drown. And yeah. Yeah. So this ends up happening. So, the dragon, Midoriya's father, I'll put up a poll on what dragon names you guys could pick out from, and whichever one it is, that's the name of Midoriya's father. So, right now he's basically flying to Japan because, he's bored and he hasn't been in Japan. So, he goes to Japan, he lands in he goes to a forest, he lands there, and he transforms. And one of the things you gotta know about transformation, sorry, and if a dragon, meaning Midoriya's father, if he were to transform, and Midoriya himself too, this includes Midoriya. So if they were to transform into a dragon or a human, whichever they want to transform into, their bones will have to kind of grow out. So if he wanted to transform into a dragon, his bones would have to stretch, his muscles have to grow and all that, and it's kind of painful because their bodies are not used to the pain. muscle growth, that the muscle growth that it's going through is, it's just pain and all that. The bone is stretching out. It feels like your limbs are getting stretched out. I mean, because they are, but literally. And like, Midoriya, he'll have to grow a snout. What the fuck? Midoriya will have to grow a snout and like all that. You know how it is. Like, their ribs will have to construct into each other, grow out and all that, stretch. Yeah, you know what I mean. So he does that. Like Midoriya's father does that, but like instead of transforming back into a dragon, like fuck, Midoriya's father transforms into a human. So, son of a bitch, bro. I hate that. So he will have to transform into a human. So his bones will construct into each other. His limbs will get short, like shrink and all that. His muscles will like degrow, so he won't be as powerful. He'll only be like what, fucking 1% as strong as his dragon form, because that's his original form. But Midoriya's natural form is gonna be his human form. But like he could transform into his dragon form, but it's gonna take some practice because he's not used to it. And like he'll be like Midoriya will be stronger in his dragon form because his dragon form has more muscle growth and it has all his abilities for a dragon. You know what I mean? So yeah. And basically Midoriya's dad, he uses his shadows to create a suit for himself. So he grows, like he just does the whole suit. And all the blue is black and all the white is black. So he's wearing a black tuxedo. His hair is black, his hair is long also. He's white. Yeah, that's it. Midoriya will get his red eyes from his father because you can't see his eyes. They look black. So I'm just gonna make them red. Alright. So okay. So basically like Midoriya's dad goes into the city and he starts looking around. He turns a corner, he bumps into Inko and he's like, "Oh, my bad." And he tries to walk away, but Inko grabs onto his like shirt, like his shirt, and she's basically like, "Oh, you dropped something." Like Hisashi, fucking hell. Midoriya's dad looks back and he's like, "Oh yes." So he picks it up and what he dropped was his like a piece of paper. And that paper is kind of special, but it's not really that special. Actually, no, whatever. He didn't drop a piece of paper. He just dropped something random. And it wasn't important, but he just wanted to take it because he didn't want to lose it. It's not important to him, or like not important at all. So he picked it up, and he looked at Inko one good glance at her. He even like tilted his head to the side to see her ass and all that. Like looked around her, saw her curves and shit. Like that's one fine ass. That's one fine piece of ass. So he taps that in Inko's apartment because Inko wasn't too far off from her apartment. Midoriya's dad likes to fuck women from different countries, cities, and all that because that's what he likes to do. To him, that's what he calls exploring. And yeah, and if you guys want, I could make Midoriya have a brother or just a brother. I prefer a brother, no sister. If you guys say sister, no sister. And if you guys want me to, you guys could have two choices. I'll put up a poll too. Like one, if you want Midoriya to have a brother, would you want it to be 3 years older than him, or be like around his age? Just like some like a couple months off. You guys comment down below if you guys want to have like a brother that's around his age or a brother that's like 3 or 4 years older than him. Actually, fucking hell, yeah. Choose. Sorry, this one has got confusing the fuck out of me too. It's like my third try. So yeah, Midoriya Inko, 9 months later, Inko gives birth. She dies in the process because I said so, because I made so many what ifs where Inko's involved in Midoriya's life, and I want to change that. And I just want Midoriya to be his own man, like you can't be like this and have a mother, you know what I mean? So no, I think it's cooler if he didn't. So he has like fucking sad backstory. So Midoriya grows up in a church, an orphanage. Yeah. And basically, when he's at the age of 4, they take him to the quirk doctor to see what his quirk is. And because of Midoriya being half a hybrid, his bones will be more different because he's a hybrid, so he has the physical attributes of a human and a dragon. But like the human side shows like he looks human, but like he has extra bones like a dragon does. So like he has extra bones on his feet, and like the joint, I'm not sure which way it is that proves that you have a quirk, but I'm pretty sure you have to have the second, like no, you don't have to. You only have to have one joint, not two joints in your pinky toe. So because Midoriya is a dragon, he's like all his toes have like only one joint. So yeah, because his dragon. I'm pretty sure dragons only like have one joint in their toes and shit. So like when they bend their foot, like the back part of their foot, the fucking whatever, it moves up and the toes stay there and they take a leap. And yeah. And so basically she's like, oh, he has a quirk, and Midoriya's like he tells him like they're about to leave, but then Midoriya's like he walks past a nurse and he stops, and so does the nun, and she's like, why did you stop, Midoriya? And Midoriya's like, he looks at the nurse or whatever I said, doctor or nurse. I'm gonna say it's nurse. He looks at the nurse and he's like, you smell different from everybody else. And basically she's like, huh? What do you mean? And Midoriya's like, you just smell different from everybody else. Everybody else, they have the same scent, and and Midoriya basically like he opens his he sniffs one more time and he takes a deep ass sniff. He's like, and he releases all that carbon dioxide out. And he opens his eyes because he closed his eyes and then took a big whiff and then released it and then closed his eyes. Opened his eyes. Fuck. He looked at her and he's like, that kind of smells good. And basically she's like, oh, is it because I have a candy bar? And she takes it out of her pocket. She starts waving around, and Midoriya's not looking at the candy. Like she even extends her arm to and starts wiggling the candy, but Midoriya's not focusing on that, not even one bit. He's looking at her chest. And basically the nun basically thinks that Midoriya hit puberty way too early for a child. So does the nurse, but they tell Midoriya to stop looking at her chest, and Midoriya's saying oh, I'm not looking at her chest. And they're like, what do you mean? What are you looking at then? And Midoriya's like, I'm looking at her heart. And that kind of scares her, you know what I mean? Fucking crap, my backbone. That scares her, and she's like, what the fuck? And she's like, you can see my heart. And Midoriya's like, yeah, it's pure. And Midoriya's like the nurse is like, wait, what? And so does the nun. She's like, pure. And basically Midoriya, he tilts his head to the side a little bit, and he starts drooling a little bit, and that kind of scares them because he just said your heart's pure, and then all of a sudden you start drooling. What the fuck? If you don't start warring as soon as that happens, you're kind of fucked up. Not in that way, but you're fucked up in the mind. Oh, he's gonna eat some candy or some shit. No, bitch, he just said he's gonna eat your heart. He didn't admit, he didn't say it, but if you don't put 1 and 2 together, then shit, you're not right. So the nurse is like, oh my god, that's fucking weird and shit. So does the nun, and the nun basically grabs Midoriya by the hand, And she tries to pull on him. She's like, let's go, Midoriya. But Midoriya's like, he's stiff as a bitch, right? So she grabs onto his hand, and like it looks like she's gonna take Midoriya off. But as soon as Midoriya doesn't extend anymore, and like her arm can't extend either, she basically starts like tugging and tugging. But Midoriya's like not flinching. His arm's like stiff as a bitch. And then he basically starts walking up to her, and then the nun basically is like, she's like, Midoriya, let's go get some candy, or let's go visit the children. And Midoriya snaps out of it, and he looks at the nurse. He's like, okay. And the reason why Midoriya snapped out of it is because the children, since they're virgins, because they're children, he's like, oh, let's go to the church, because there are more virgins, and so are the nuns, I'm pretty sure. But I'm gonna say there's one naughty nun that's actually, no, I can't say that. No, I'm religious. No, I can't say that. No, disrespecting. Fucking hell. Basically, all nuns are like, basically everybody's a virgin. And even though Midoriya's a virgin, he doesn't hate himself. He doesn't want to eat himself. No, doesn't care. To him, he's not a virgin. He doesn't know what the sensation is when he sees someone that's a virgin. He doesn't know it yet, because he's 4 years old. He's not there. He'll find out eventually, and yeah. So what ends up happening is that Midoriya, not the next day, he goes back to the orphanage, and they check, the fucking kid, the little boys and all that. They walk up to Midoriya like, hey, oh, what's your quirk and all that. And by the way, Midoriya's natural eye color is red. His natural hair color is black. His yeah. So, they say like, what's your quirk? And Midoriya's like, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. And Midoriya wasn't paying attention because he was looking at the nurse that he was talking to, like, your heart's pure and shit. He was looking at her. But then as soon as they said like, oh, let's go, Midoriya forgot all about her, and then he walked past her, and then that's what he's like, he not remembered her. He still didn't remember her, but the fact that basically the pure heart, like the virginity part thing, like it didn't let him remember it. Just like he was just too zoomed into her being a virgin, because she's trying to save her for marriage. And Midoriya was about to end that shit, so no more waiting. No, like he wasn't gonna have sex with her or anything like that. He was gonna kill her, so no more waiting. You know what I mean? Yeah. Alright, so this is what happens. Alright, this is what's gonna happen. The little boys and the little girls, they walk up to Midoriya. They're like, oh, Midoriya, what's your quirk? Midoriya's like, oh, I don't know. And basically it's like, so basically one of the little boys is like, oh, is that because you're quirkless? And basically Midoriya's like, nah, I have a quirk, but... And before he could finish that sentence, the boy with the super strength quirk hits Midoriya in the stomach. And Midoriya, being half dragon, he's pretty durable, so he gets up from that. He wipes himself down. And they're like, what the hell? So they punch him again, nothing happens. And they start punching him again, until finally Midoriya, like, he finally, like, feels something, and it kind of hurt him. So he clenched it. Fucking hell, man. He clenched his fist together, and like he did this. Actually, no, it looked like the shadows from every like corner were like coming together on his hand, and then it looked like this. And then Midoriya punched the little boy. The little boy got sent flying, right? Because he's a little boy. He couldn't even take the normal punch. But hey, plus all this, the super strength. Remember, he's half dragon, so he's gonna be naturally physically strong. He's gonna be a superhuman. He's basically gonna be like a Vent Smoke, from One Piece. The maniac who he did something to his kids to make them have superpowers and be like physically strong and shit. You know how it is. Yeah, he did something, he did something to them, and they ended up getting fucked up. And not fucked up, they gave him superpowers, super strength, and all that bullshit. So Yeah, that's Midoriya right now, but you know, with shadows for his super ability. So you know, all the kids ran away. Then like the nuns came out, they're like, Midoriya, what are you doing, and all that. So basically, after that, Midoriya got treated like an outsider, like he got neglected. So that led him to the path of don't trust no one because no one cares about you. That type of stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna put up a poll and that decides the what if. What if Midoriya is gonna be either a villain or is gonna be a hero or a vigilante? I don't know. So that's gonna be up to you guys. So I'm gonna end it at the point where he finds out about UA having an entrance exam, and you guys decide. But don't worry, I'm gonna bring in Midoriya's father and all that to explain everything. So basically, Midoriya, a time skip. Midoriya is now 15 years old. Actually, no. Midoriya is 18 years old. So not much of a backstory except the fact that he got neglected for something that he didn't even start, just something that some dumbass little shit started. But Midoriya was most feared in the orphanage because, you know, if he did that to the little boy at the age of 4, who knows what he could do now at the age of 18 or, you know, growing up. So, you know, they just thought he could, like, literally punch the fuck out of them or blow a hole in them by punching them, which you can, but hey, I'm not gonna let that happen. Not yet. And I'm only gonna let Midoriya have female virgins because male virgin, really? What the fuck? What kind of shit is that? So yeah. Alright. So basically, this is gonna happen. So Midoriya's like 18. As soon as Midoriya's 18 and he wakes, as soon as like the day Midoriya's 18th birthday, they wake him up at like at 5 a.m. They tell him to pack your bags and get out of here. And Midoriya is like so used to them talking like that to him that he literally gets up, packs his bags, and, you know, gets out. And they close the door right behind him because if it was their choice, they will like take him to a different orphanage. But other orphanages heard what Midoriya did to the child, and like the children told everybody the children told adults a whole different story. They told them like Midoriya got angry for them talking to him, and you know they like Midoriya punched the fuck out of a little boy. So you know the orphanages didn't want a little boy that had anger issues or you know punched little kids for no reason to be near their children. So you know the orphanage had to keep Midoriya. So you know Midoriya hasn't gotten into trouble ever since, but you know other kids have been getting him into trouble for stuff that he's not even doing. So he could be reading a book and like 6 little kids would be like, or 6 kids would be like, oh miss, look, he's doing this and that, he's drawing on the books. And you know they like basically put a book next to him that's drawn on, and Midoriya will get in trouble. Give me a second. Alright, so yeah. So they kicked him out. Midoriya got his bag, put it on his shoulder, and walked up to a tree and basically slept there. Woke up at 8, looked around, realized that he got kicked out because, yeah, he fell asleep and he forgot that he went and left. Well, mostly got kicked out, but hey, yeah, it's legal apparently, so, yeah. And Midoriya basically scuffed and got up, went to the city, and realized that he had like all of a sudden like once let me explain to you. Once a dragon reaches the age of maturity, not puberty, no. Once a dragon reaches the age of a like sort of like a manhood, you know what I mean? You know, like when you reach at the age of 18, you become a man, and you start taking the traditions of your family. You know, like you drink a shot of beer at the age of 18, or you know, just do something that only adults do. So yeah, but like this goes for like the entire dragon race because you know they're they're fucking, dragons. Like, it basically runs in their genes. It's like natural. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even have to think. Like, they don't even have to know about it. Like, but they'll feel it. They'll get the urge to do something. Like, they'll get the urge to do it. And basically, this urge is to have sex. But some dragons can, control it. Like, some dragons have like all dragons do it once, but some of them who enjoy it do it again and again. And some of those who don't enjoy it, they'll just do it one time, that's it. Just to lose the V card. But, and all dragons have a fucking, oh yeah, all dragons have a human form, like this. So yeah. Alright, so basically, what's gonna happen now is Midoriya, he's walking around the streets of Japan. And remember Inko's dead, so yeah. So Midoriya, he sees, he's time. So Midoriya is walking around, right? And he's looking fucking disturbing as fuck, right? So he's like, he's to the point where he's so horny that he's literally drooling. And like, he's like, he has a hunchback and everything like that. He's like, his arms are swinging as he walks. And he looks at a girl and they're fucking like a little creeped out. Some of them are like, well, he's cute. Well, no homo there, not for me, no. I'm not gay. And like other girls be like, no, but like he's drooling and shit, like they'll just be pointing out the weirdest of him. And basically this ends up happening, alright. And since Midoriya's dad is horny as fuck, like he does get horny and likes to have sex with females. The same thing for Midoriya, but I'm not gonna describe it unless I feel like it. So Midoriya's walking around, like he walks and he like happens to stumble upon like a place where they have like a bunch of mini games and all that, like where you throw a ball, like knock the pins down and shit, yeah. So he walks in and stumbles upon there, and he sees like a shit ton of stands, and like they're only for males who are above age and shit. And Midoriya looks pretty fucking mature. So he stumbles on one, and basically, let's just say that Midoriya is so handsome and gorgeous to females that literally they'll do it for free, because they're kind of like prostitutes, but they're like strippers. They only show skin, and they don't allow the person who's they don't allow the person to touch them. They'll like just smack your hand and shit, or just smack whatever you're trying to touch them with, or whatever. Yeah. But Midoriya, he's just like an exception because how handsome he is. Look at that, gorgeous, right? No homo. So he sees one stand, he goes inside. The girls grab him by the fucking arms and shit. It's 2 girls, threesome, that's it. Doggy style. They do doggy style. They do like give him foot jobs, thigh jobs, hand jobs, boob jobs, blow jobs. They do, and I'm going fast with this too. So yeah. They make him sit on their face. They sit on Midoriya's faces, and yeah, they just do that. Then a few hours later, Midoriya's famished, and he's like full of he doesn't need to have sex again. Like he does, but like his horniness will take advantage. Like will take him over, but not now. He's full in that department. So Midoriya gets up and he basically goes walking around, right? Those girls are passed out because Midoriya was too much for them. And right now over the years Midoriya has been training with his quirk. So Midoriya's gotten to the point where he could like literally go into shadows and come out of them. Because sometimes the kids will like literally try to bully him. And yeah. So basically Midoriya goes into an alley and he stumbles upon a gang, and the gang basically like, oh my god, look at here, like we gotta kill this guy before he snitches and shit. And you know they try to walk, they run at Midoriya, they swing at Midoriya, but Midoriya goes into a shadow. And you know, like they're all arguing, and like, where the hell is he and shit. And Midoriya's like in his mind, in the shadow, being like, he looks up in the air, and you know, flashback, yeah, flashback. Midoriya is 10 years old, and he's training with his quirk. Right now, he's summoning all the darkness he can into his fist. And it looks like this, so it's at least just surrounding his hand. It looks like a flame, but it's just shadows and shit. And it enhances his punch. Yeah. Yeah, it enhances his punch. So, basically, Midoriya's training, and all of a sudden, like 6 or 10 different kids walk up on Midoriya. They're like, you villain, because, you know, Midoriya has a villainous quirk because of the shadows and shit. That's kind of villainous, but to them, it's villainous. Midoriya, it's not really villainous, because if you were to have the quirk and you will see, like oh shit, it's shadows, it's not a villain quirk, it's just shadows, you know what I mean? But to other people, they don't have the quirk, so, you know, it's dangerous, it's a villain quirk. And, yeah. So, yeah. By the way, watch my What If Deku is a Werewolf. You'll enjoy it. I know you guys will. So, yeah, Midoriya's in the flashback, and basically the kids run up on Midoriya. They're like villain and all that. They start calling him names, stupid, dumbass, and all that. And Midoriya throws a swing, and like when he throws a swing, it like basically the shadows get left behind the punch, so it's basically leaving a wave of darkness, and basically the kids run on it. You know, the fucking wave of darkness pushes them back, and then you know there's like a second wave of kids running at Midoriya, so they all run at Midoriya because you know the first 10 kids, you know, they got back up because you know it hurt them, but you know they can still fight. So they ran up on Midoriya, they start throwing punches, but Midoriya, he accidentally went into a shadow. And he was stuck in that shadow for 2 hours because, you know, he didn't know how to get out. But then he realized that if he wanted to transform back into a normal thing, he would have to, you know, harden his body again. He will have to, you know, give it a shape and harden. If he wants to transform back into a shadow, he has to basically turn himself into a gas. But that gas is shadow, you know? Yeah. And yeah. So then the flashback, Midoriya's like looking over some gang members, and you know he pops out, punches one in the fucking jaw. He gets smacked into a garbage, and you know then you know like the fucking, I'm just gonna say there are 5 dudes there, and you know the 4 dudes run at Midoriya. One of them has a quirk, a shocking quirk. He basically has to rub his hands together, and it creates electricity. And like he harnesses the electricity, and he has to touch something, and then like it electrifies and shit. So you know he does that, and like you know he touches the pole, and you know basically the electricity is running through the pole. So you know he throws the pole at Midoriya, and Midoriya catches it with shadows, because remember, shadow manipulation. So basically he uses the shadows that he's harnessing in this picture. And the shadows, they're immune to the electricity because it has no feeling. Midoriya does not feel what the shadows feel. He could just control it. And then Midoriya shapes his own weapon. It's actually nah, he doesn't shape it. Basically Midoriya just gets all the shadows he could get and puts it on his hands, and he morphs it into like this. And then he gets into a fighting stance, and you know the guys run up on Midoriya again. I mean, they were still running on him, but you know it took him a little while because Midoriya's like far away a little bit. So you know as soon as they get on him, well, not no homo, but you know as soon as they get up on him, dude, one of the dudes punched Midoriya in the stomach, but Midoriya didn't feel it as much, and Midoriya punched the dude in the face, sending the dude crashing into another garbage can. Midoriya got one guy from the arm, and literally dislocated his arm by applying pressure to it through a point on his arm where it's a soft spot that allows it to break someone's arm or dislocate it easily. The fourth dude basically runs up on Midoriya because he missed the punch, and Midoriya basically grabs him by the shoulders and pulls him in and knees him in the stomach. And then as soon as the dude was about to fall backwards, Midoriya got him by the head and lifted his knee and held it up there, and Midoriya slammed the guy's head into Midoriya's knee. Slammed his head into his knee, and then Midoriya jumped up in the air and fucking did a whole 360. And, actually he did a 180 and then fucking back kicked that dude. And, the dude went flying, hit the concrete, and then one dude was one dude had a quirk that allows him to absorb a little bit shock absorption. So the shock absorption. So it's kind of like shock absorption, but it's kind of not like it because it works the same except it's weaker. So he can't absorb as much shock as the Nomu. And yeah, so the dude runs up on Midoriya. Midoriya literally dodges underneath the punch, he ducks under it and then fucking hits the dude in the pressure point, which numbs the guy's arm. So Midoriya the guy tries to back kick Midoriya in the face, but Midoriya he's fast as fuck. So he catches the foot, twists it, and then fucking karate chops that bitch inward. So basically, he chops the knee the opposite direction it's supposed to fold. And the dude started fucking screaming, and then Midoriya got a fucking Midoriya just got him in a headlock and then fucking bent his back backwards, so now it's bending in a position where it's not supposed to. So this dude's literally gonna have to go to physical therapy for a good 6 a year until he's ready to walk. So Midoriya, he's naturally smart because actually not. Midoriya is smart because he has studied, so he knows pressure points and all that, and he knows places to kill people in certain places if you apply pressure and you twist your finger and shit in certain ways. You could kill someone. You could kill someone. You could do some other shit. So yeah, don't let this look fool you. Midoriya, he's pretty smart. And yeah, Midoriya exited out of the fucking. He left the alley, and then he basically. Yeah, and then he went to an apartment, but before he left the alley, he took all their money, and they were arguing about who gets to keep most of the money, because they were selling heroin, and apparently heroin's pretty cheap, and I'm like, what the fuck? I thought it was I thought it was expensive, but I guess it's cheap. And I'm not street heroin is cheap. Or, certain types of it. I don't fucking know how heroin works. I don't know how it works, so I don't know the prices and shit. So, basically, Midoriya goes, he picks their money, he goes to an apartment, and then, he starts to live there. And then, by the way, this has been the first 2 days. So all this has happened in 2 days. So time skip. Midoriya, he has a job now. He's I was gonna say an assassin, but that seems a little too much. So basically, what ends up happening is Midoriya, he gets a job, and he works for a pizza place, I guess, cause you know I'm not gonna let him start off doing his shit like right now. I need to get to the place. You know what I mean? I need to get to it by the story. You know, I need to follow it. And yeah. By the way, if you guys want me to make a redo, I understand. Kind of trash, but hey, yeah. So what ends up happening is Midori, he's working at a pizza place because, you know, yeah, he can. And if you're expecting to be badass, like, oh shit, he's gonna be working as a fucking car salesman, no. No. So basically, Midoriya, he's working there, and the fucking dude's working his ass off right now. Like, he's telling Midoriya, like, fold those fucking pizza boxes. Midoriya looks to the place where the pizza boxes are, and there's like over like 500 pizza boxes he needs to fold. And Midoriya's like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. So, you know, he leaves. Yeah, you're expecting more? Nah. Midoriya, he fucking gets on, he gets on this outfit, minus the robe, and he's a vigilante now. And how Midoriya turns out to be, if you want him to be a vigilante, a hero, or a villain, that's gonna be on you guys. You guys choose, and you guys choose if Midoriya gets a brother or not. Or if you guys even want a brother. Hey, whatever. But yeah, don't worry, I'm not gonna be in the video yet. No, yeah, if I did say that shit, I'm not gonna. I need Midoriya meet his father. Alright, so yeah. He's working as a vigilante, and then all of a sudden, Midoriya, like, let's just say Midoriya's been working as a vigilante for like 2 weeks now, right? All of a sudden, Midoriya, he starts to grunt and shit, and he's like fucking, he's on top of a building, and all of a sudden, Midoriya, he starts to change. Not the good way either, not puberty, no, the different change. No, just kidding, no, not yet. Midoriya, basically, he's on top of a rooftop, and basically, he's looking over the skies. And then all of a sudden, Midoriya to this day still doesn't know what his bones on his back would do. But he'll find out soon. Not yet, but soon. So Midoriya gets a headache right now, dude. He was standing, and then all of a sudden, he grabbed his head, and he fell to the ground. And then basically, he started, screaming in pain. Screaming in pain. And all of a sudden, Midoriya started getting flashbacks. And if you're wondering how does Midoriya get flashbacks, basically it's like this. I'm gonna say that Midoriya got memories from his father because the memories were passed down to him. I forgot what the people called, I forgot what the 9 calls it, not 6ix9ine, no. You know, from My Hero Academia, 2 Heroes Rising, when the villain 9 says, oh, quirks are genital, something like that, passed down by generation and shit. Yeah, well, not like that, but Midoriya's father's memories were passed down to Midoriya, just a few of them, not all of them. So Midoriya knows how to change it to a fucking this dragon, and he knows where his father is. And Midoriya's father right now is just sleeping. He digs a cave, and then in this cave there's a shit ton of gold and treasures, because dragons protect treasures, and Midoriya doesn't do that because he's not interested. His human side is basically blocking most of his dragon side. Yeah. So yeah. So basically, Midoriya, he finally gets up from the floor because he was on the floor because he got memories and shit. And basically, he walked and then he ran on top of a corner of the building, and he's basically started doing what the memory showed him. and like he started like compressing his emotions and releasing it all at once. And like it basically not bullshit, nah. Basically Midoriya, he's in his mind and he basically like tells his mind to shape him into a dragon. And it only works for dragons because yeah, the dragons, they're, how else are they gonna transform into a dragon? Or transform into a human. So Midoriya transforms into a dragon. This dragon, his bones are basically stretching out. His like to you guys, it's basically like this. Midoriya, he falls on the ground again, and he's on his knees, and then he rips off his vest, and then like basically he stands up again, and then like he bends his legs and he leans his back forward, and like you could see like in a shadow, like let's just say Midoriya's in some like there's some light in the building, and right now we're looking at Midoriya's shadow, like we're seeing what the shadow is showing us, and the shadow is showing in a wall. So basically the wall is showing us that Midoriya leans forward on his like Midoriya goes on his legs, he spreads his legs out and he like bends them, and like he leans his front like his upper body forward, and like you could see his back stretching, and like you could see like scales like starting to pop out of his back. You could see like fucking wings started to grow out of him, and you could see that you could hear his bones like cracking and then like starting to rebuild, and like slowly he's starting to get bigger and bigger, and then like his fucking face, his hair basically like starts to like go inwards, so it's going in his head, and then it starts to make like the fucking spikes, and like Midoriya grows a tail out of the back, like a little bit above his ass. You know how it is, and he starts to grow spikes on there too. And then Midoriya, like he looks and fucking, did I miss something? No, he grow like to his face. He's growing a snout, and then like as soon as the snout's finished, his teeth start to come in. Like it starts like fucking, like the teeth, they come out from the gums, and like they're coming out sharp too. So it comes out like fucking shing 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 shing, that type of shit. And like he's fully grown, so he's like 20 feet tall. Yeah, around his around that height. I'm not sure how tall that dude is. But yeah, he grows spikes on his back. He grows spikes on his wings and shit at the ends of him, and around him. And then he basically starts like wiggling his tail, and like his tail's starting like to like grow spikes as well, And then he swings it too hard because he's not used to having a tail or wings, so he swings it and it fucking hits a wall, destroying the wall, which catches people's attention. They call the police because they think it's a villain. But the police come, and like they come in a helicopter too, because they like the person who witnessed this says like, oh, it's a big ass villain, so they bring in the chopper. So basically, they call a chopper. The chopper's facing the light at Midoriya. Midoriya like growls and shit, and it's fucking loud. And yeah, fucking hell, I'm getting those the whiffs and shit. You know what I mean? I'm sorry to get sick. Fuck. So I need to end this real quick though. So basically, the fucking chopper starts showing its light where. It's showing the light where Midoriya is, and cops are like trying to follow Midoriya, but Midoriya is pretty fucking fast. So he has super strength too, so yeah. And he's running through the buildings and all that, and then he's running on top of the roofs and all that. So he's running and he's jumping over, buildings. He's jumping and landing on buildings and all that. And then he finally jumps. And like all of a sudden he starts trying to flap his wings, so he flaps them. He's slowly starting to fly. It's kind of badass. And then Midoriya throws like he shoots off a fireball, like a shadow ball. It hits the fucking helicopter. The helicopter crashes into a roof. The dudes get out. Everybody gets out of the helicopter. They jump out of the roof into the next roof. Helicopter explodes. Midoriya flies off, and he flies off to the And then he flies off to the fucking Bermuda Triangle. He sees his father, and like on the journey to the Bermuda Triangle, he sees he sees boats, and the boats don't see him. But as soon as Midoriya gets to the Bermuda Triangle, he sees that he goes to the Bermuda Triangle, so he's now in the territory of that place. And he sees there's like a shit ton of rocks, and like they're spiky too. And he sees like a bunch of hot ass women. And if you know where I'm going with this, yes, yes, yes. And like he's still in his dragon form, by the way, because if he were to transform back into a human, he will not be able to have his dragon wings because yes. By the way, Midoriya, he always had a bone on above his ass. You know what I mean? So basically, every physical attribute the dragon has, the Midoriya doesn't. So the bones on his back are the wings, and like the tail is basically a little bone on his back. And basically, they just grew, and like they start like developing like smaller, smaller bones along the tail, getting smaller and smaller, but it's still wiggleable like a fucking snake. Like that, like 60 bones allows them to wiggle and shit. Yeah. So yeah. So basically, Midoriya sees a bunch of hot ass women, and then like he starts to go slower and slower into the fucking go slower and slower to the fucking women. And the women are trying to seduce Midoriya. They're like, "Oh, come here, big boy." And like they're just trying, like they're like flirting him up. You know what I mean? Like they're giving him a boost to his confidence, but not really trying to. They're just trying to eat his ass. You know what I mean? Like literally and metaphorically in the same time. So as soon as Midoriya was about to get close enough for them to eat him, he gets told like, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." And basically Midoriya's like, "Huh?" So he looks back and he sees like a fucking dragon on here, standing. And Midoriya like, "What the fuck?" So he flies to the fucking dragon. He lands like right there in the background where you see the rib cage and shit. Yeah, he lands there. The dragon just woke up from slumber and told Midoriya not to go back there, not to go there. Midoriya's like, "Why shouldn't I?" And the fucking dragon basically is like, "Luke, I am your father." And fucking Midoriya's like, "What the fuck? You stole that shit from Star Wars, you dick." And basically the guy, like the dragon's like, "I know I haven't been there for you, but take it easy." And Midoriya's like, "Who are you?" And Midoriya's like, Midoriya's dad's like, "I am your father." So honestly, I don't want to do a poll for what the name for the dude should be, but whatever. The dude's name's like the dragon's name's gonna be Igneel, cause why the fuck not? He's like, "I am your father." And Midoriya's like, "Bullshit. My father was he's a bum." And the dragon's like, "That's hurtful. I am that bum apparently." And yeah. Fucking Midoriya transforms back into a human. He spawns all the shadows onto his hand. And basically Midoriya's father transforms into a human himself. Walks up to Midoriya. Midoriya and him compare to each other. Midoriya's dad's a little bit taller than Midoriya. If I said Midoriya's like 6'4", no, not yet. He's like 6 foot. And Midoriya's dad's like 6. Igneel, that's his name. Igneel's like 6'4". And Midoriya like, Igneel was like, "You're not tall. You might be my son. You might not be in the same time. Who knows?" And then Midoriya's like, "If I'm not your son, then why do I have your powers?" And Igneel's like, "Good point. I guess you are my son, unless you're the son of another dragon. But that's not possible because you were conceived around the same time that me and your mother were, clapping." You know what I mean? Midoriya's like, "You fucking disgust me." And they have a good conversation. I guess. They're like, "Oh, I'm a dragon. And by the way, honestly, this what if is shitty right now, but if you give me another chance, I can make it better. Because I'm tired and I kind of fell asleep. I'm not gonna lie. I fell asleep at 5 and woke up. My brother told me to wake up to, take out the trash. So, I woke up. And basically, I'm gonna take it seriously now. Back to it. Just kidding, they don't have a good conversation. Midori shrinks to his normal size. And, fucking his dad shrinks to his, human size. He expects a hug. He opens his arms and is like, hello, my son. And but before he can, say hello, my son, he gets fucking punched in the face. And, he fucking falls back on his ass. He lands fucking right there where, he just lands, right there, where that little bush is, between that rib cage right there in the bottom and the rib cage where Midori's at, right there, right there. So he got pushed back a lot and fell. And yeah, fucking hell, man, my dog. And then basically Midoriya's dad got up. He's like, that's hurtful. And basically Midoriya and the dad, they go into a fight. So Midoriya's dad goes into a fighting position, and Midoriya goes into a fighting position. And they're in good hands right now. So every clash they make is a fucking thunderstorm. So whenever one takes a punch from the other one, it's like a thunderstorm. You know what I mean? Because their punches are like shockwaves, but they only happen in the air. And the only times these type of shockwaves happen are when there are only two dragons clashing. But actually, no, not yet. They don't clash, not yet. They do fight each other, but the thunderstorm shit is not gonna happen yet. So Midoriya, he's like, shit, I haven't been in my dragon position. I just unlocked his dragon power. I'm not suited to fight yet, And Midoriya's dad punches Midori in the face. Midori gets sent flying too. Midori stands up, and they both get into fighting positions. They run at each other, fucking boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Midori's dad throws a punch on Midori's face. Midori ducks under it, punches his father, Igneo, in the stomach. And when Igneo grabs Midori by the hair and pulls him forward and knees him in the stomach, Midori coughs up spit. And then Midori's father basically grabs Midori by the neck and grows claws on his fucking fingers, and he pulls up to Midori's neck. And he's like, any last words? And Midori's like, sure. And then Midori grows scales from his back and pierces his father. And yeah, they could do that shit, but they can't grow, they can't grow tails, they can't grow wings or nothing like that. They could just grow scales and claws. That's about it. And they could use their dragon abilities, but not to fire, shadow breath and shit like that. Nah. And basically Midoriya, he just learned that part, because his father's abilities on how to use his dragon powers is coming to him slowly. So basically Midoriya's dad just starts growing scales on his arms and on his legs. Wait. On his legs. Yeah. On his legs, on his knees. He grows this big ass spike on his knees going up. So if you were gonna knee someone, he will pierce them by kneeing them in the stomach and shit. So yeah. And basically Midori grows claws from his hands. And cracked my back, shit, that hurt. Cracked his back. Not cracked my back. So basically what ended up happening is Midoriya, he threw a punch at his father, but his father moved out of the way. Midoriya punched this skull, because Midoriya took a big ass leap. His father dodged and stepped aside. And Midoriya kept on flying, hit the skull in the cheek, destroyed the skull, or just put a crack on it. And yeah. So Midori, he spawns some darkness into his hand, and Midori's father's okay, so he spawns darkness to his hand. And Midoriya's father puts one of his hands into his pocket, and then Midoriya's like, taking me seriously, and he's like, I'm not. And then yeah, Midoriya goes for the clash and all that, and then Midoriya's father, Igneo, he grabs Midoriya's hand and fucking twists it. And Midoriya's like Midoriya's arms being twisted, and Midoriya's like falling to his knees slowly, and then Midoriya like realizes that he could spawn there are no claws on his hands. Never mind, no. And then Midoriya he fucking what he did was he grew claws on his other hand, and then fucking slashed his father's wrist. His father fucking Igneo fucking pulled back his arms like, what the fuck, like, damn you and all that. And if you guys want them to have a good relationship, depends on you. Alright, it's all on you. And I'll put that up tomorrow if I remember, because I don't want to spoil this shit. Alright, so yeah. And basically, this is getting attention from other creatures. Because, it's kind of slowly, thunderstorms are starting to happen, but not loud ones, just like something like that. But if they transform to their dragon form, the thunderstorm will be a full-on, actual thunderstorm, a worse, bad type of thunderstorm. And then, yeah. So basically, Midoriya's father's I'm tired of this. So he transforms back into his original, his base form. And, he fucking spreads his wings, and then his spikes come up and shit. Midoriya does the same. Their spikes come up, and then they run at each other. Midoriya jumps onto his father, fucking claws his back. Midoriya's father, Igneo, jumps up midair, and fucking flies in the air, and then does a fucking. And then does and then closes his wings around him, and then starts flapping around, and Midoriya just basically gets smacked down to the ground. Midoriya's father jumps on him and scratches his stomach, and basically pierces his stomach too. And Midoriya fucking by instinct slashes his father's hand, and then slashes his throat, not to kill him, to give him a scratch. And then, yeah. And then, his father basically is I'm tired of this. And then, his father basically scratched Midoriya on the eye, a little bit, on the nose area, giving him the scar. And then, basically, Midoriya's dealt with a lot of pain now, so he's not durable enough now. He is done for. He can't handle it. But his father's durable because he's been through a lot of fights, so he could handle it. And Midoriya can't because Midoriya's never really been into a fight, or at least he's been to fights, but not against opponents like his father. So Midoriya basically falls to the ground. And his father basically steps on him with both legs. And then basically just imagine this. Just imagine Midoriya being the skeleton but actually alive. And his father doing this, spreading his wings and lifting his neck high up in the air and fucking screaming and shit, roaring fucking, a lot louder, but a lot cooler too. And yeah, they will have more fights, and their relationship will be determined by you guys, because you guys are going to be making some of the decisions. The ship is going to be, I don't know, you guys get to choose the ship. I'll put up some options, and you guys get to choose between those. No Ryuku, because Ryuku is being used for what if Deku was Endeavor's son. And yeah. And then also what Midoriya's father does is that he also looks up all the way up in the air, and then he starts to do this shit, but like he starts to do like he closes his mouth, and then like smoke starts to come out of his mouth, and then all of a sudden he looks up in the air, he opens his mouth, and like a purple fucking beam shoots up in the air and it explodes midair, which causes the fucking sky to turn gray, fucking rain. Midoriya transforms back into his human form, so he's like this, but with more scars, like wearing booty shorts, and his father's wearing the same outfit because yeah, he uses his darkness to like give him a suit, and yeah, and his father basically says, "You're foolish, child," and Midoriya's like, "Whatever," and he fucking stands up from the ground, bleeding from his face and like bleeding from his chest, bleeding from his arm. His arm got dislocated and got like his right arm got dislocated, and like his left arm got his forearm got like destroyed, meaning it's like it broke into like 3 places. But like it looks normal, but like you see the bumps and shit. And Midoriya's like, "You fucking broke my arm," and Midoriya's father's like, "If you're my son, you should be able to heal from that." And basically Midoriya looks at his arm, and you can see like, since Midoriya's a dragon, a dragon's natural instinct is to heal from any injury. And Midoriya's like, you could see Midoriya's arms starting to like crunch itself back into each other, like crunch itself back into itself, so like it's becoming normal again. And basically Midoriya's father's like, "Oh, by the way, any damage inflicted by another dragon will cause you to regenerate but have a scar as a remember, or like because a dragon is like, it leaves like a certain vibe, like an energy, or what I mean, like like in Teen Wolf, like when a wear like a fucking, like how an alpha, if you're in a beta like or anything like that, if you get cut by an alpha, like it'll heal, but it won't heal like emotionally or something like that. Like it'll leave like a certain mark. You'll still be able to feel the pain, something like that. So that's the same situation. So that's why Midoriya has a scar on his face, and he's gonna have a fucking. Let me see how many. Alright, so oh shit. Let me check the other picture again. So 3 claws, and it looks like he has a black claw on the back of his foot. Cause like that's how many dragons I've seen with that type shit. So I'm gonna say that. So Midoriya has 3 claw marks on his chest, going from his, pec, or his right pec. No, his left pec. Sorry, his left pec. Going from his left pec, going down to like a little bit above the stomach, a little bit below the ribs, and like he has a dislocation on his left arm and a broken arm on his right. But they're healing. His dislocated arm is being slowly put back to place, but Midoriya wants to speed up the process, so he fucking rams into a rock. It basically puts it back into place. Yeah. And Midoriya, he falls and leans. Sorry, he falls and leans into the head. And Midoriya's father's basically right underneath the wing, around there, where that rib cage is at, underneath it. Between the butt, like yeah, just underneath the wing, wherever you think the wing is, like underneath the wing, that's where he's at. And he tells Midoriya like, "You're foolish." And he tells Midoriya like, as soon as you heal, leave now. And Midoriya's like, "Oh, no fault, like no son and father talk or some shit like that. No apologies for why you weren't here." And like Midoriya's father's like, "Nah, I don't do that. I don't like conversations. They're boring." So he transforms to a dragon and flies off. Actually, no. Before he leaves though, he's like, You have 3 hours, and yeah, you're gone. If you're not gone, then yeah, you're gonna go. Just go. Like he tells Midori, like, if you're not gone in 3 hours, I won't do anything to hurt you, but just please go. I don't like children. And Midori's like, what the fuck? I ain't no child. But then his dad leaves. So that's the end of the story. I understand if you want me to do a redo. I hope you guys don't. I hope you guys like it, enjoy it, and you know, I kind of did do 18 plus, but not what you guys expected. So yeah, bye.